What's up guys, my name's Curtis and welcome to 5 Minute Finance, where I take personal finance topics and explain them to you in 5 minutes or less. The topic of student loan debt is a controversial one. On one hand, you have people who want all student loans forgiven. On the other hand, you have people who don't want any student debt forgiven. And there's a lot of people somewhere in the middle of that spectrum as well. If you can, please watch this video all the way until the end, as I'm going to try as best as I can to give both sides of the argument. But I do have to start off by saying my opinion on student loans can be somewhat biased, and I'm fully aware of that. I worked 2 jobs throughout college. I applied for as many scholarships as possible, and instead of going out partying on weekends, I spent time learning about personal finance. This was partly because I'm a total nerd, but really it was also because I was trying my best to graduate college without any student loan debt. So in a perfect world, I think everyone would just pay off their student loan debt that they've signed up to pay off. However, I also realize how big of an issue student loan debt has become, and inevitably some action is going to be taken to help lower the overall student loan debt for borrowers. When it comes to loan forgiveness, it's pretty difficult to argue that all student loans should be forgiven, and there's a few reasons for that. First off, a large amount of student loan debt is held by high-income earners, such as doctors and lawyers. It doesn't really make sense for, everyday taxpayers to foot the bill of debt cancellation for these extremely wealthy individuals. There's also the argument of fairness, which you can really go back and forth on. But in situations like mine that I just discussed, large-scale debt forgiveness kind of seems like a slap in the face to a lot of the people who prioritize paying down debt over, buying new fancy things or vacationing or partying. Before anybody yells at me in the comments, I do realize that not all people who borrow student loans go and blow their money on booze and, new cars. But that does happen occasionally, and I think that needs to be brought up when we're discussing the idea of fairness. On the other side of the spectrum, rises in tuition costs have drastically outpaced inflation over the past couple decades. And as a young adult around the ages of 18 to 20, students often just sign that dotted line so that they can go to school and get a degree because that's what everyone tells them they need to do. Sometimes these students don't fully understand what they're signing up for and how much debt they're actually going to be taking on. So that begs the question, is there really a solution that could get bipartisan support? I stumbled across this USA Today article written by Scott MacDonald earlier in the week, and I think it's actually a pretty good compromise. The proposed solution in a nutshell is, for every $1 of loan principal that somebody pays down on their student loans, they would be forgiven $1, up to $6,000 per year. I like this idea for a lot of reasons actually. It would supercharge the borrower's ability to pay down their debt, drastically reducing the amount of time needed to pay off their student loans. It would avoid the controversial argument of giving lump sum payments to those who have student loans and not giving anything to those who either didn't go to college or paid off their loans responsibly. I also think that by limiting the amount of forgiveness up to the $6,000 per year that this proposal discusses, you're helping out low-income earners more than you would be high-income earners. I don't think it's possible to 100% please both sides when it comes to student loans. However, with this proposed plan, Democrats would still get some of the loan forgiveness they're looking for, and Republicans would still be able to avoid some of the lump sum debt forgiveness that they're trying to block. Also, at the end of the day, those who borrowed money are still required to pay back some of their student loans in order to qualify for this type of forgiveness. It's less of a government handout, but it would still dramatically help reduce the total amount of outstanding student loan debt. Now, I doubt this plan is ever actually going to make it into effect, but I would still love to see more education for young adults regarding college and student loans. Too often, people just sign up for student loans so that they can go to college without fully realizing, 1, how much debt they're going to be taking out over the course of their degree, and 2, what realistic salary expectations are for that degree when they graduate. I tried to make this video as unbiased as I could, and I'd love if you guys could tell me what you think about Scott MacDonald's opinion down in the comments below. If you guys want to read the entire article that I discussed in this video, I'm going to link that down in the description as well. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, it would really help me out if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here and want to see more personal finance videos in the future, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell.